Hello my fellow Retromaniacs and welcome to Let's Read The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past manual. Yeah, it's another game that I have played, but I had never chance to actually read the manual because, I never owned the box. So, let's put some music on the background. To get some better feeling here. Okay. So, yeah, it's always interesting to read these old manuals to see what kind of, graphics they used. They had a hand-drawn art or maybe pre-rendered 3D art like Donkey Kong Country. And sometimes there's like a backstory which isn't told in the game itself, so you can only know it by reading the manual. At least back in the 90s or 80s, when you couldn't find information from the internet. So if something wasn't in the manual and it wasn't something wasn't in the game and you didn't have the manual, you were clueless. You had to find out yourself. Maybe if your friend had the manual, he could tell some tricks and details of the game. So, okay, we have at least 40 pages. So this is a quite comprehensive manual compared to some of them NES manuals, and especially those that came after, N64. GameCube, I think, was the last console which had manuals, but or maybe even Wii. But then they started, having tutorials inside the game, and so you wouldn't need a manual. At least a paper one. Maybe they only had some links to the websites or PDF. So we have a lore here. The Legend of Hyrule. To set the stage for this adventure of the legendary hero of Hyrule, it will be informative to delve into the Triforce myth, an ancient epic about the creation of the world that is still believed in the land of Hyrule. Every culture has such myths and theories about the creation of their worlds, and it can be beneficial and entertaining to examine them in detail, for they often affect the present-day social structure. This is like some kind of a scientific journal. They affect the present-day social structure. Therefore, we have a theory of Hyrule and its creation. It's a theological theory, but bear in mind that we have evidence. The legends say that the mythical gods of Hyrule had as their chosen people the Hylia. These ancient people left scrolls that are the primary source of the legends. So this was before the three gods in Ocarina of Time, Din, Fiora, what was the last one? I never used those skills, You would get the creation of Hyrule. According to the Highland Scrolls, the mythical gods descended from a distant nebula, the world that was and created order and life. Okay, god of power, dyed the mountains red with fire and created land. The god of wisdom created science and wizardry. I think she should have just created science, the wizard, for some other planet, and brought order to nature. And the god of courage, though justice and vigor, created life and animals that crawl the land and the birds that soar in the sky. After the god had finished their work, they left the world, but not before creating a symbol of their strength, a golden triangle known as the Triforce. A small but powerful portion of the essence of the gods was held in this mighty artifact, which was to guide the intelligent life of the world of Hyrule. So wait a second, is Hyrule supposed to be like the whole planet? Because, the Hyrule that is in the game is usually just like a couple of miles or at least a couple of thousand miles. But that's not like the whole planet. Although it was an inanimate object, the Triforce had the power to bestow 3 titles, which gave the person who received them great powers: the Forger of the Strength, the Keeper of Knowledge, and the Juror of Courage. Okay, these titles were changed in Ocarina of Time. From its hiding place in the so-called Golden Land, where the gods placed it, the Triforce beckoned people from the outside world to seek it in the hope that someone worthy of these titles would find it. Why? Is that the person naked? With their magic-infused blood, the Hylian people were endowed with psychic powers and skill in wizardry. Psychic powers? I don't remember Zelda having any psychic powers. Maybe she actually does. It was also said that their long-pointed ears enabled them to hear special messages from the gods, so they were held in high esteem by many people in Hyrule. Okay, so there were other people, not Hylians, just like regular potato heads. Their descendants settled in various parts of the world, but that's not Hyrule, and passed on their knowledge and magical lore to all people, but in its passing the lore was often distorted or lost altogether. Gates to Golden Land. In Hyrule there are many Hylian buildings, which are mentioned repeatedly in the legends. These buildings, which now lie in ruin, bear shadows of their former splendor, are closely tied to the Triforce. Some were said to house the Triforce itself. If it were only a symbol of the gods, the Triforce would be coveted by many, but a verse from the Book of Mudora, a collection of Hylian legends and lore, made the Triforce even more desirable. In a realm beyond the sight, the sky shines gold, not blue. There the Triforce might make mortal dreams come true. Well, that was pretty. Many aggressively searched for the wish-granting Triforce, but no one, not even the Hylian sages, was sure of its location. The knowledge had been lost over time. Some said the Triforce lay under the desert. Others said that it was the cemetery in the shadows of the Death Mountain, but no one even found it. Ever found it. That yearning for the Triforce soon turned to lust for power, which in turn led to the spilling of blood. Soon the only motive left among those searching for the Triforce was pure greed. Well, good plan to hide that Triforce. Just made the world go war. One day, quite by accident, a gate to the golden land of the Triforce was opened by a gang of thieves killed in the black arts. This land was like no other. In the gathering twilight, the Triforce shone from its resting place high above the world. In a long-running battle, the leader of the thieves fought his way past his followers in lust for the golden power. So wait a second, it was high above the world, but it still wasn't in the air. It was physically some altar, maybe. After vanquishing his own followers, the leader stood triumphant over the Triforce and grasped it with his blood-stained hands. Here he heard a whispered voice. "If thou hast a strong desire or dream, wish for it." And in reply, the roaring laughter of the brigand leader echoed across time and space and even reached the far-off land of Hyrule. The name of this king of thieves is Ganondorf Dragmire, but he is known by his allies Mandras Ganon, which means Ganon of the enhanced thieves. Okay, didn't know that Ganon has like a first name. Mandrag. The imprisoning war. I do not know who's talking here. I'm a writer. I do not know what Ganon wished for from the Triforce. However, in time, evil power began to flow from the Golden Land, and greedy men were drawn there to become members of Ganon's army. Black clouds permanently darkened the sky, and many disasters beset Hyrule. The Lord of Hyrule sent for the 7 wise men and the Knights of Hyrule and ordered them to seal the entrance to Golden Land. It would be interesting to actually have like a spin-off that you are one of the Knights of Hyrule or 7 wise men. Because this part was like, there was one cutscene but in the game, but nothing else. It's a very interesting backstory. Much more interesting than that of Ocarina of Time. The Triforce, being an inanimate object, cannot judge between good and evil. Therefore, it could not know that Ganon's wishes were evil. It merely granted them. Suspecting that Ganon's power was based on the Triforce magic, the people of Hyrule forged a sword resistant to magic, which could repulse even powers granted by the Triforce. This mighty weapon became known as the Blade of Evil's Bane, or the Master's Sword. It was so powerful that only one who was pure of heart and strong of body could wield it. As the 7 wise men searched for the valiant person to take up the Master's Sword, Ganon's evil army swarmed from them. Tainted Golden Land into Hyrule and attacked the castle. The wise men and the Knights of Hyrule combined forces to wage war on this evil horde. The knights took the full brunt of the fierce attack, and although they fought courageously, many a brave soul was lost that day. However, their lives were not lost in vain, for they bought precious time for the 7 wise men to magically seal Ganon in the Golden Land. All of Hyrule rejoiced at the victory that upheld peace and order over Ganon's evil and chaos. This war, which had claimed many lives, became known as the imprisoning war in stories told in later centuries. So yeah, Ganon was born centuries before the events of Link to the Past. So yeah, I guess, you know, Triforce wasn't in pieces at that time, so Ganon had the whole Triforce with himself, and still he couldn't get the world domination. So I don't know. He failed once. Surely he knows that he can fail again. Many centuries have the coming of the wizard. Many centuries have passed since of the imprisoning war. The land of Hyrule healed its wounds, and the people lived in peace for a long time. Memories of the vicious imprisoning war faded over the generations. So, it is no surprise that no one was prepared for the new disaster that have recently struck Hyrule. Pestilence and drought, uncontrollable even by magic, ravaged the land. The king of Hyrule, after council with his sages, ordered an investigation of the imprisoned Dark World, as the Golden Land had become to be known. But wait a second. So Dark World is Golden Land. I didn't know that. I always thought that, you know, Golden Land is the light world and Dark World is the evil world. But I guess, yeah, Golden Land, maybe it was a Golden Land. It's not really explained here what it actually is. It's like a parallel universe, but if Ganon hadn't been locked in the Golden Land or Dark World, what would it be then? A peaceful place, maybe. But the wise man's seal was apparently intact. He offered rewards for anyone who could find the source of these troubles. In answer to this summons, a stranger named Aganim came and quelled the disasters with a previously unseen form of magic. As a reward, the king gave him a new position of a chief advisor, heir to the 7 wise men. The masses proclaimed him their hero. Peace had returned to Hyrule, or had it? Well, if someone looks like that, I wouldn't trust him a second. Look, he looks like evil. I think it's never explained if Aganim was like a good person in the beginning and maybe was corrupted by Ganon, and if so, at which point that happened? Could Ganon do like telepathy from the Dark World into the light world? And it wasn't really explained that, okay, Ganon was locked in the Golden Land, but where? In some kind of temple? Or could he just roam free there, killing people, planning things? Yeah, my strategy is that if there's like a evil dude, just kill him. Don't lock him anywhere. He will escape always. Peace had returned to Hyrule, or had it? Of late, rumors have traveled the Whispering Path with alarming frequency. Rumors saying Aghanim now rules the country with his magic. Rumors of strange magical experiments in the castle tower at night. The people of Hyrule were gripped by dread. Okay, prologue. Here comes our hero. One night, a girl's voice awakens you from your sleep. Help, my name is Zelda. I am in the castle dungeon. She telepathically pleads. You jump out of bed not knowing whether the voice was part of a dream or reality. Upon leaving your bed, you find your uncle, who should be fast asleep at this time, preparing to go out, girded for the battle. I'll be back by morning, he says as he departs. Don't leave the house. You watch him leave with the family sword in hand and shield on arm. This is a night like no other. Who is Zelda? Where had your uncle gone, and for what reason? And so, on an ill-fated night, a new chapter in the legend of Hyrule's hero begins. A new chapter in the legend of Zelda. Okay. So, the golden land of the Triforce has become a dark world, corrupted by Ganon's evil wishes. However, this is not enough for Ganon. He also wants to make Hyrule the light world. Okay. So, just sealing him into the dark world, it wasn't enough because he could rule the dark world. Obviously, he had the advantage of still having the Triforce with himself, because it wasn't broken. He also wants to make Hyrule, the light world, his own. To do this, he needs to break the seal of the 7 wise men. But he cannot do this with his power alone. He must also use the life force of the descendants of the 7 wise men. With Aghanim, the wizard, as his pawn, this is about to become a reality. Thus, the late night experiments in the castle tower. You, as the legendary hero of Hyrule, must enter the dark world on a quest to save the maidens that Aghanim has sent there. The aim of the game is to solve the many mysteries and adventures that await you along the way to rescuing the maidens, defeating Ganon, and returning peace to Hyrule. Okay. Before starting the game, select screen. Yeah, I don't have to read these because it's like people who have never played a video game. They're like, what is a game pack? A game pack can save data for up to 3 players. Erase the player. Okay, viewing the main and sub-screens. The game is played using 2 types of screens, the main screen and the sub-screen. This is the screen where the action takes place. Okay. We have a magic meter, item display, rupees. You can have up to 999 rupees. Don't you need an update? I'm not sure, maybe it wasn't in this game that you need money packs. Maybe you can actually collect 999 rupees straight away from the beginning. Bombs. Arrows. If you do not have the bow, you cannot use the arrows, but you can still carry them. Okay, spoilers, you can raise the maximum amount of the bombs. Yeah, actually by not reading the manual, not owning the box and manual, you are not spoiled that much. Maybe it's actually best not to read the manual and only read it later after you have beaten the game, because this might actually spoil quite a lot. Sometimes even the bosses and the worlds. So yeah, sometimes it's better to treat the manual as a strategy guide and not just something you have to read. It's optional. Small key. Hard containers, yeah. These are all classic Zelda stuff. Press the start button to switch to this screen. When you want to change the item, you are ready to check your status. Yeah. Do window. This is do window. Pendants. If you defeat the evil master of dungeon, you will receive a pendant of some other special item. The window keeps track of how many pendants you have. You will have to collect something different in Dark World. Okay, so they are not spoiling everything here. Something different. You must collect all of these items to finish the game and restore a piece to Hyrule. Dungeon items. Yeah, and they're not showing all items here for spoiling reasons. Okay, we have controls. You forgot L. It's just not a button, it's L button. What does actually L button do? It's not used at all. Because, you know, the biggest complaint about Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past is that you cannot, like, rotate the items or use more than one item at a time, 2 items at a time. It would have been interesting if they had, like, have more items assigned to L and R. Okay, moving your character. The digital control pad moves your character on the screen. Oh, wow. There are many hidden secrets in the lands of Hyrule, so you will find this. You will have to search every nook and cranny, not granny, to find everything. Walking. Flipping down. I like these graphics here. They should do you know, a new Zelda game in the future that uses like hand-drawn graphics, not just cel-shaded graphics, but, you know, real, like using the same process as Cuphead. It would look fantastic to have. Maybe not this Zelda style, but something similar. Just a sucker for hand-drawn animation. Pushing. Hitting. If you run into certain walls, you may break them down, and if you crash into objects such as trees, hidden things might fall from the breaches. Wait a second. I don't think anything will break just by running into walls. You have to have like bombs. I'm not sure. Of course, you can run into you know, grass and cut it. Avoid lifting and throwing. Note that you cannot use the sword or other items when you are holding an object. Yeah. Treasure chests. Swimming. If you find Sora's flippers, you can swim down. Yeah. Talking. Reading. Press the A button to listen to the Elder's telepathic message that comes from the magical cornerstone of the dungeon. Okay. Who's the Elder? This one? I don't think we actually see him anywhere. Yeah, it's Sahastala. I haven't really played Link to the Past for many years, so I think I've only like beaten it once, so should probably play it sometimes. I watched Wine Sauce Vinny play the randomized version a couple of times, but not the original game. Grasping and pulling. Wait a second, I recognize this song. It's playing in the background. What is it? I think it's... Wait, it's Donkey Kong Country 2. Yeah. Just a remix version. Of course, you cannot pull everything, but you can certainly try pulling objects in the dungeons, like levers, statues. Note that run and swim will display when you receive the Pegasus shoes and Sora's flippers. Lift will change to lift and lift 3 when you increase your lifting strength. Okay, that's new information. I hadn't paid the attention that there's like lift 2 and lift 3. Swinging the sword. The more sword techniques you master, the better you will be able to deal with the many monsters you will meet. Whirling blade technique. This is awesome. It's awesome. Attack can be used to attack an enemy standing behind you. Dashing attack. You have Pegasus shoes. Well, that's quite late in the game. If any enemies happen to be standing in front of you, you can hit them as you run past. Hold down the A button for a second to build up speed, then you're off. Sword at the ready. Hold your sword in a ready position. You can then use control pad to move your characters in any direction. If you come upon an object, your sword can cut. Such as a bush, you will automatically mow it down. Try this with a row of bushes. Yeah, they actually teach this quite early in the game. They have bushes. If your sword power level is 2 or more, and all your heart containers are full, you can launch a beam from the tip of the blade. Always loved this beam attack. I wish Ocarina of Time had beam attack. This bolt of energy can be used to attack enemies at a distance. If no button is pressed, your character will have his shield ready. You can use the shield to protect yourself from a frontal attack, such as arrows fired by the enemy. The shield will not protect you from all attacks. Wait. Y button. Using items. Okay, flute. Staff of Burna. The magic cape. Yeah, this is rather spoiling to read these, you know. Before playing the game, you know that what you will get. Really, I think it's ruining the magic. Not the magic, but the magic of playing the game blindly. Okay, I think they don't actually tell what the items do, so that's better. How to select bottles. If you want to use the contents of a bottle, you have to select the bottle you want. Align the cursor with the bottle in the item. Selection window to display the screen show below. X button. Viewing the map. Yeah, the whole area of Hyrule is that small that you, so small that you kind of not need the map after playing it for an hour, you know. I could easily navigate the whole game map without once checking the map, you know. But you know, maybe back in the 1991 people couldn't even believe that the map so large is even possible, so yeah, it was a nice add-on to have to see the whole map. Oh, they reveal the Dark World here. Yeah. Yeah, if you don't have the manual, you might actually like play the game without even knowing that part of the game will take place in the Dark World. You know, maybe you think, maybe I'm sure that at least some kids have played, and then they have thought that Aganim is the final boss, and they are shocked that the game continues after Aganim. I think even when I played Ocarina of Time as a kid, I thought that after getting those 3 first dungeons, beating them, that would be the end of the game. So I was quite astonished that that was nothing. The bigger part is when you are adult Link. Spoilers. Hyrule, the Light World, the Dark World look alike but have subtle differences. Find the differences between the 2 maps and you can solve many mysteries of both worlds. Press the L and R button to switch between the close-up and complete map. Alright. Power up. Your character can become stronger by finding and using magical equipment. It is essential to be well armed for attack and defense when taking on any powerful enemies. you will encounter. Would have been interesting actually, you know, have RPG elements and P-packs from Zelda 2. You know, it would encourage you to, you know, play the game and beat enemies and get points. When, you know, I liked it. I liked Zelda 2. That you had to like choose whether you wanna make your attacks stronger or your defense better or your life meter. Improve your life meter, so I like that. Shield has 3 potential levels of power. If you improve your shield or find a better one, you can defend yourself against different attacks. You start off wearing a suit of green cloth, which hardly protects you at all. During your adventure you will find a blue mail and a red mail. Suits of armor reduce damage from enemy attacks by 25% and 50% respectively. I don't actually remember where you get those mails, I think. Was it one of the trading sequences, trading quests, where you get the red mail? Okay. Power glove, Titans-Smith. Try lifting a few things. Moon Pearl. People who enter the dark world are transformed into a shape that reflects what is in their hearts. So in Link Heart, there's a bunny. You can prevent this by obtaining the Moon Pearl, which protects its bearer from the power of the Triforce. So I guess Ganon is, you know, boar, because it reflects what is in his heart. That's interesting. So I wonder what the Zelda is. Dark World. Do we ever see it actually? What Zelda would transform into? Dark World. If all your hearts are empty from damage taken from enemy attacks, etc., the game will be over. When the game is over, you can select one of the following 3 commands. Save and continue. Okay, restart. Restart locations. Dungeon and sewers of Hyrule Castle. Halfway point between dungeon and the sewer passage. Sanctuary Mountain Case. Select one of the 3. What about Dark World? Dark World Pyramid. Okay, with the old man on Death Mountain. Save and quit. That if you use this command when your game ends in dungeon, you will not restart the game at the entrance to the dungeon, as it would if you use the save and continue command. The location of any warp points created by the magic mirror will not be saved. Chrono Trigger remix. If you have to stop the game suddenly or you have exhausted your magical power or items and are unable to deal with the enemy at hand, press the select button to bring up the option to stop the game and save it. If you run out of magic power in a dungeon, you can return to the dungeon entrance using the magic mirror. So think about what is the best before using save and quit command. Restoring life. To capture one of the little fairy. Should it be one of the little fairies? Maybe. Oh, fairy? Fairy. It's a plural of a fairy. My English is not very good when it comes to the plurals. Look at 7 hearts. If you find the elusive fairy queen, she will restore all your lost hearts. During a long adventure, it is a good idea to remember where fairies live. No, it's fairy and fairies. I think you can actually spell it, write it like F-A-I-R-Y and not F-A-E-R-I-E. Destroying magical powers. Decanters. Big decanter. Why is it? It's capitalized. D. Small one restores 1/8 of your magic meter. Magic shop. Heart containers and pieces of hearts. To find one of these heart containers in the sanctuary, and you will receive the others one by one as you defeat the dungeon keepers. In other words, bosses. Pieces of heart containers are hidden all over Hyrule. If you collect 4 pieces of heart, you will gain 1 full heart container. If you manage to collect all the heart containers, you will have 20 hearts in your life cards. And then you can double that with the extra protection. Find rupees and heart hidden away in these bushes. Hyrule is full of ancient secrets and unusual life forms. No one should venture into the wilderness without some preparation, so read some background lore before you set out on your adventure. Fortune teller's house. Give you idea what to do next. You look like you might have interest in destiny. May I tell you fortune? The fortune teller will also heal your wounds as an extra bonus. Oh, I never used fortune teller, so didn't know that. Let's make this shop. Can't do it himself, and his partner is now missing. Wand of happiness. Few rupees. Time they will add up, and eventually the fountain will bring you happiness. Don't remember how much you had to put through them. Whirlpool water waves. There are 6 magical whirlpools in the rivers and lakes, which connect 3 warp water waves. If you dive into one of the whirlpools, you will surface in a faraway body of water. You can make use of these watery shortcuts once you have Sora's flippers, but you can use the flute as well. Magical warp titles. entrance to the dark world that was sealed by the wise men long ago. Most of these are hidden under objects like boulders. You must find these in order to go to places in the dark world where you could normally go. Dungeon Noise. An evil dungeon keeper lurks in the dark recesses of each labyrinth. When you defeat it, you will receive a pendant of virtue or a crystal. Well, earlier they didn't tell that you can collect other things than pendants, but now they say that they reveal that you can collect crystals. Spoilers! You need to obtain 3 pendants before you can wield the Master Sword, and one of the missing maidens is trapped inside each of the crystals. To simplify things, I will refer to such places as the underground, the labyrinths, the tower, and the inside of the sanctuary as dungeons. Who is speaking? The writer of this manual? Or Shigeru Miyamoto? Crest of Courage, Crest of Power, and Crest of Wisdom. Alright. Be sure to find them. Oh, compass. Map and compass, that's like even an inside joke of Zelda games. Always thinking, oh, you get a nice item. No, it's just a map. No, it's just a compass. There's no compass in Hyrule Castle. Thank God. It's such a letdown. To find a big chest and there's like compass just inside. You know, the dungeons are usually so small that you can beat them without looking at the map. Anyway. I think the only dungeon where you really need the compass and the map is in Ocarina of Time, the Water Temple, because it's so confusing without map, and even with the map it's quite confusing. Skull symbol representing the dungeon keeper will not be displayed until you have found the compass. The brackets of the dungeon map screens are for easy identification of your character's position. The red frame indicates the area that is directly above or below the white frame the player is inside. Steps are not displayed inside the dungeon cells. Yellow mark, stairs. Did I actually know that? White, blue explored rooms. Dungeon contraptions. I don't think pot is a contraption, but whatever. Some pots hide switches that open doors. Well, yeah. It's always a good thing to, for that reason, always good thing to at least once smash all the pots. Because there might be just a switch under one of the pots that which was actually like making you unable to continue if you didn't find it. Fragile walls. Walls and floors with cracks in them can be knocked down with bombs. You can also try to knock down such walls with the dash attack. If you knock down a wall, you can sometimes get into the next room. Actually didn't know that you can knock down the walls with the dash attack. So that's actually good hint. You don't have to waste your bombs. Crystal switches. Yeah, these are quite complicated one. Some of the dungeons. You need to use your boomerang. Manholes. Fall into one of these, you will drop through to the floor below, but you will not sustain damage. The dungeons are full of crazy contraptions and perplexing puzzles. You are bound to come across some danger sooner or later. But come what may, you must explore and conquer these places. Explore your encouraging message. Item inventory. Collect them from helpful people or find them in dungeons. If you learn the capabilities of all the items and discover the best places to use them, you will no doubt quicken the restoration of peace to Hyrule. The item names in green are items that consume magical power. I always think the best, one of the best aspect and the thing that make Zelda games so good is a wide range of different items. You know, some games have items, but they have like maybe 2, 3, 4 or 5 items at maximum. But you know, usually Zelda games have like 10 or 20 or 30 different items. So just great, especially if you can like use different strategies, like using a boomerang instead of bombs. Although some games don't allow you to be so liberal with your choices, so it's usually just one item per one situation. And it's usually the last item you got or found is the one you must use the most. You can also pick up a bomb you have placed and throw it before it explodes. Be careful. Boomerang can also retrieve distant rupees and hearts. Indeed it can. Bug collecting net. There are bugs and other things hidden away in the bushes and trees. If you time it right, you can catch them with this net and store them in bottles to use later on. I think yeah, bug collecting net, one of the lamest Zelda items. Although I'm not sure, maybe I haven't played Breath of the Wild, so maybe bug collecting net had a reappearance there. Who knows? The Book of Mudora. Well, I don't think Book of Mudora appear in other Zelda games. You know what? You can read the text. You can read the scripts. But why do you have to waste like whole item, you know, space to do that? That's crappy game design. Just give a skill, but without taking up any item inventory space. Mushrooms, mushrooms. It's called powder. You can find these while wandering in the lost woods. It's called powder. Try sprinkling it on a bush or cause strange chemical reactions. This was quite interesting, this concoction. You can use this mirror to escape from the dark world to the light world. The portal that is created can also be used as a gate back into the dark world, but we warned, the place where you reappear in the light world is a place where you cannot normally go, such as inside of a wall. You will be forced back into the dark world. Note that the mirror will also return you to the entrance when used in the dungeon. The magical mirror cannot be used in the house. Okay, yeah, that's good caution to remember, because if you accidentally select the magical mirror and then accidentally use it, man, you have to backtrack all the way back where you were when you used the magical mirror by accident. Also, I think it's kind of cool thing that the programmers actually managed to, you know, have a script, that procedure that checks if the place is something that the sprite cannot normally be, such inside of a wall. So the game doesn't crash. It would be quite, you know, impossible to release the game if it would crash in that situation. So they really had to have some interesting, you know, programming skills to actually let it, you know, happen, that it can be momentarily inside of a wall, but then it will, you know, teleport back to the other world. Magic hammer. Some enemies. It is best used in conjunction with another weapon. Like what? Hookshot. Hookshot can also be used as a weapon. Yeah. Shovel. You cannot dig in some surfaces. You need this shovel to find the flute. Okay, that's a big spoiler. Although I think they actually tell you to find the flute using the shovel, so it's not that big of a spoiler. Lonely Light will give you a flute, which plays a beautiful but slightly sad melody. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, that's not the tune. Can't remember what the tune was. When you are granted it, be sure to fulfill the request made of you. If you have the flute, it will make your long and difficult journey a lot easier. Okay, you're not saying that you can use it as a teleport. Ice Rod, Fire Rod, Staff of Samaria. This mystic staff creates blocks formed of pure magic power. These blocks can be thrown. I don't remember they can be thrown. They can be pushed on the enemy to cause damage. Power blocks disintegrate if they touch an enemy 5 times. Really? I don't remember that either. Strike a magic block with the staff, it will shatter and the fragments will damage enemies nearby. You will need this staff to get through the Turtle Rock dungeon, the Dark World. Well, that's spoilers. Staff of Burn. The beam from this staff surrounds and protects you from all damage. Yeah, I don't think I ever used this, because it takes quite a lot. Magic power, magic cape, then invisible. While hidden from the enemy's view, you can attack them without taking damage. Although the cape is a useful item, it consumes magic power while you are using. Yeah, these are quite useless items, you know. Unless you... Maybe you are not that good of a player and tend to be low on health, but still with lots of magic. Maybe it's something you can use. And these magic medallions, I would never use them. Of course, I think one of the boss fights require you to use these, maybe. Or no, it was you can use just ice rod and fire rod. That will come to life and shake violently. Such an attack, the fear it creates are bound to affect the enemy. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't use these. Maybe if there would be like a, you know, magic hack, like a cheat code that you have unlimited magic, then this would be something I would like just spam all the time. Okay. Your quest begins. With the knowledge you have gained so far, you should be ready for your quest. But if you still have any doubts, what follows is a message for the legendary hero of Hyrule, which you may yet become, from the Highland Book of Mudora. We prophets of the Hylian know that your future holds. What your future? Listen carefully. The legend begins in your very own house. You have just been awakened by Zelda's voice. Follow your uncle as he sets out in this direction of the castle. Somewhere at the perimeter of the castle there is an underground entrance. You will have to search for it. Using the sword and shield you receive from your uncle. Okay, they don't reveal that he dies. You can set about rescuing Zelda. Don't miss the boomerang hidden in the castle. If you defeat the soldiers and free Zelda from the prison, you can escape with her along the secret passageway and head for a magical study called Sanctuary. If you make it to Sanctuary, so yeah, like, yeah, if you die, well, we are all lost without hope. Listen carefully to what the sage and Zelda have to say. Oh, it's sage. I always thought he's just a priest. Now you should know what you have to do. From here on, the places you have to go to will be displayed as symbols on the map. It is probably a good idea to keep an eye on the map while progressing. Start by going to Kakariko village and picking up the information that is waiting for you there. You can also find some items in this village. When you find the elder, he will tell you that you need the 3 pendants of virtue before you can claim the Master Sword. You will find the pendants in the Eastern Palace, the Desert Palace, and the Tower of Hera. Defeat the masters of these dungeons to win the pendants. The dungeons are complicated and full of formidable adversaries. Keep an eye on the map and be on the lookout for the trouble as you advance through the dungeons. And when you are in the dungeons, it is imperative that you find a bow, power glove, and moon pearl. When you have the 3 pendants, you will be able to wield the Master Sword, which sleeps in the Lost Woods. If you have the Master Sword, you should head to Hyrule Castle to battle with Aghanim the Wizard. Aghanim will use a powerful sorcery against you, but if you truly understand the strength of the Master Sword, you can defeat him. When you take hold of this Master Sword, try to recall the words of the Elder. At this point, your destiny grows cloudy. The rest of the legend is yours to write. Cool. Oh, and then we have names of the enemies, and this is something some games actually have you know, they like Super Mario World, they show the enemies on screen, and Donkey Kong as well, but some games only have the names if you have in the manual. So if you don't have the manual, you don't know, you have to make up your own name. So it's like a skeleton guy, and this is like the armor dude, and this is like Cyclop, and this is like the mummy. But of course you are not using the official names. So if you discuss your friend about the game, probably have different names for different enemies. Here in the last part of the tome, I will introduce you to a few of the adversaries in this adventure. However formidable these creatures may seem, they are bound to have weak points. Discover their weaknesses to make your attacks more effectively. Stalfos Knight, Ball and Chain Trooper, Kibdos. It's quite a rare enemy, I think. I think it's let's even know which temple you see these mummies. Geldman, Hinox, rumored to inhabit the Dark World. Well, that's not just a rumor, you will see him. He cannot withstand the very bombs that he throws. Aim for the eye if you want to find his weak point. You could just say aim for the eye because that's the weak point. Snapdragon. Wait a second, what is this? This doesn't resemble any of the sprite arts. Yeah, I wish there was a like hand-drawn Zelda game with just using these you know, hand-drawn animated creatures. That would be so cool. Helmasaur, Visrobe. You can only damage him only when he is visible. And that's all. So, thanks for watching. See you the next time.